You guys wondering about what's going on this month. Roberta, we had a field trip on Tuesday. We went to Cards by Christine for her mystery card night. It was kind of a fifth Tuesday call, and it was she had it coming on, and I thought that'd be fun. I'm going to go do that. So I've done 4 study halls already this month, so kind of thought that was enough. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the up light just a sec. That turns on my ceiling fan so it stays a little cooler. So anyway, yep. And then bugs. Are we gonna do bug eaters? I don't have any bug eater plans, but we'll see. Hi Lee, hi Leslie. Yep, field trip. Oh, those bus rides, they can be rough too. Susan, Miss Murphy, Christina, good morning, good middle of the night, good night. Jamie, and 5K. Woo, what a group. Nice group of ladies. If you, I will start out real, let's see. Let's just give it a moment and let it come through. Well, we'll hit intro here in just a second. This is a new month. I made a pretty card on Mystery Night. Thank you, Christina. I love those 3 cards that you made. As a matter of fact, when I get off, I want to hit those 3 cards. I'm gonna share those 3 cards on my story because I think they're so interesting. Well, hello, Lisa. How are you tonight? Yeah, I love the way you're rocking that background, Christina. It's good. Hey, Patty Beck, the famous Patty Beck. Did you ever think you'd be so famous, Patty? I know, it's just wonderful. I think, okay, here's the sitch. Patty Beck and Mary Gunn walk into a craft store. Patty Beck gets mobbed. I love it, though. I totally love it. I think it's the neatest thing. And I hope you're feeling better. I enjoyed that whole exchange on we have a Craft Roulette Lounge or Craft Roulette Show Facebook page, and it was just such a great exchange of people just digging in for Patty. It was great. So, congratulations. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. I love this group. Okay, all right. Well, let me get another. When I see 6:33, there it is. I'm going to go for it. Last cough. And here we go. Thanks for being here. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm Mary Gunn. Welcome to Fun University. Hello, I'm Mary Gunn. I'm Mary Gunn Fun, founder and head professor of Fun University. Welcome to Fun University, July 2021's first cards lab. We are doing proximity and bugs. Of course, that's a real natural 1-2 kind of thing, isn't it? You know, I was having a thought earlier too. Then we're going to get busy. I was thinking, you know, when I get passed over through the pearly gates, I have a feeling that St. Peter is going to go, oh, there's Mary Gunn Fun, founder and head professor of Fun University, and your intrepid hostess too, or Craft Roulette. Anyway, yes, we are going to talk about if you like paper crafting, card making, and art design. Yes, actually art design. That's what we're going to talk about. We are going to be making cards using, we're going to be learning about art design, one element in particular, proximity. And then it just sounds like something you should say with a little bit of a to it. Proximity. And we're gonna learn about that this month. I think it's gonna be a little fun twist. We're going to do cards with bugs. We're gonna learn about how proximity can change, and you can work with cards. And another thing we're gonna do is different size cards every week. So we can talk about how to work your design better on different size cards. I think it'll be good. I don't. If you've never been to Fun University, I don't know that I know Miss Lisa, but thank you for coming. And are you Crafty Owl, sister? But anyway, it's nice to have you. If you are new to Fun University, let us know so we can introduce ourselves. And we also have a Fun University Lounge Facebook page, and you are welcome to join us there. That's where we put in our homework and talk about class. I don't think I have any housekeeping. We do have an announcement about scrapbooking tomorrow night on Craft Roulette. We do have a wonderful craft roulette tomorrow night. It is with 3 Canadian ladies. We've got the 3-room studio group. So make sure you come back for that. What else? Is there anything else? I don't think so. Stephen's here for moderator. It's a small group. I should be able to handle everything. Sharon is here in her red chair. That's all how it should be. And Fun University, Cut the Crap and Create, and Craft Roulette are all community sponsored. I'm not a part of a direct sales team. I am not sponsored by any companies. We just run on the goodness and stay on the air by your good kindness and your support. So you can go to Patreon and look for Mary Gun Fun and find out how you can support us if you'd like. We also have merchandise on our website, marygunfun.com, that you can get to. This is actually not one of the pieces. This is a decal that I ironed on myself. So anyway, but it's all fun to wear. It's all fun to be out and about wearing good merch that says Cut the Crap and Create or Fun University or Craft Roulette. I was at the vet a couple weeks ago with Sir Kerwin, and a man said, Fun University, that sounds like somewhere I need to go. It was kind of creepy, but it's okay. Let's see. Yep, you know about logging in. There he is. There he is. There he is. You know about logging in, chat, and all that. I'm not going to go with that. But if you would give us a thumbs up right now and share this, it would be great because it's going to be a pretty strong class, I hope. I hope. 99.9% chance that you have not heard a class like this before. Let's get to it, shall we? Let me clean off my desk here. All right. Down to paper. I got the buttons tonight. I have to kind of remember how to use them. All right. Proximity and bugs. Cards Plus Lab, week 1 out of 4. There's actually 5 Thursdays in July, and I'm already counting out that 5th one. I'm not going to be there. So what is proximity? Proximity is nothing more. It's very simple, and I think you probably already know I should have thought to ask this earlier in the group, but what is proximity? It's merely grouping or placing similar items near each other, and that makes them feel like they go together. It's kind of a nice idea, isn't it? Now, why am I using bugs? Well, because it's summer. There's lots of bugs. And when I was starting to think about bugs being near me or you, I thought that might help you remember what the lesson was about. If you had a June bug flying by your head, you might be thinking, oh, proximity. He's in my general proximity. I should remember that when I'm making a card. And then we're going to be talking about different ways, different card sizes. Tonight we're going to be talking using 4 1/4 square cards, and we'll go bigger and bigger each week. So that's the plan. I'm planning on sticking to it. First thing we're going to do, there are 5 ways proximity can help you and your card design. We're going to start. I know this is just a big blank old thing. Sorry, it's coming on. It's coming. It's coming. We're going to start with something in a real life example. There we go. Yes, proximity, words in real life, words in a sentence that are not near each other, not in the same way if they're stacked, instead of going left to right, if they're at a diagonal, if they're all jumbled up. It becomes harder to read. Same with letters in a word. So, I was hoping that would come off. So let's go ahead. For instance, I bet you knew what this word was going to be. You already know now, I bet. But I think you will find it much easier to read if I can spell when the letters are in order and near each other. Even if they were spread out, it would be a little harder to read, wouldn't it? That's my real life example of how proximity can work. It can help make sense in design. So, proximity, think of it being near each other There we go. Things being near each other that make it feel like a unit. Now that doesn't feel like scattered letters. It feels like a unit of a word. All right, that's pretty simple, isn't it? See, you already know all this stuff, but you may not have thought of this stuff just exactly like this. Number 2, proximity can help decrease visual clutter. Oh my gosh, I mean, clutter is everywhere, right? There's a cute little 4x20, 4x4, 1/4 card. So if I stick this on there, that's pretty cute. But then I just start throwing things out here. We're going to use the B tonight a lot. To be or not to be. Now we've got a bit of clutter. We've got them going off the edges. We've got them going, we could even put some under each other. We've got things that don't quite look like they go with other things. I don't feel like this is a very good unit, and I feel like it's a wonderful example of visual clutter. So proximity can help you decrease this visual clutter. For instance, if you want, this is taking a big picture to a little picture. You want to know what the radar is around your house. You go to weather.com or whatever you go to, and you get the worldwide weather. You can see what's going on in Scotland, in Rome, in Africa, in Asia, in Taiwan, in India, in Australia, also in your neighborhood. But there's a lot to cipher down, right? It's kind of like one big world of visual clutter. And so you go ahead and go to your lessen the proximity to get your radar down to where you are living. And so you get those items, those clouds, those rain clouds and those green blobs near where you live instead of looking clear here, clear here, clear here. We're going to do that with this card. Okie doke. I'm going to give this a better crease. He's popping a bit. Okie doke. That's better. Now I know I'm going to do this part, so I will go ahead and stick this down. Then we're going to play a little bit. Okay. Hey, Kim, how are you? Visual clutter. A lot of what this lesson I think will help you with is just placement, and that's a whole nother thing, but I think it will help you with placement and knowing how to put things together so it feels like a unit. That's my goal, at least. Okay, so if we just start playing with these guys first, he's pretty big for a little guy, for a little card. Would we want would we want to have it? I mean, there's some subjectivity on this, but we could do something like this. We could have him flying in. We could have him flying away. Bug catcher. And actually, that shows movement, doesn't it? They're going somewhere. He's coming in. They kind of tells the story right there. Or we can bunch them up a little bit into a cluster. This is not a good example. I don't think this looks good at all. Or we can make him front and center. And then do we really need these guys? We have this, is that more clutter than it's worth? I kind of think so. You do want to work in threes and all that kind of good stuff. Let's see what happens if we just give him a little title there. Then you could go boink, 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 and you would have some little embellishments right there, and you would probably have an okay card. Visual clutter would go ahead and start adding more. Other things that somebody might use and add that they think is going to work, but could actually be clutter, is tying some things down here, is something, if you did want more pattern on here, one thing that you could do, well, two things that you could do that I think of right now is just a tone on tone texturing or embossing so that you have some texturing, some inking in here so that you've got a halo around that to make it a little more interesting. You could maybe spice that guy up. You could, with a little border, you could pop him up a little bit for some interest. You could add some sparkle to that. Those are things I would suggest instead of adding more things and making a little too much visual clutter. I know it is I thought that it had an R in it, Stephen. I thought proximetry. Yeah, I thought it had an R in the end of it. I've been having to teach myself over and over not to say it wrong. So it's just let me just restate that. Proximity is grouping or placing similar items near each other, and that makes them, what happens is that makes them feel like they go together. So even if you do put these together and they kind of look like they go together, it still can clutter it up. This is a small canvas. When we get to a larger canvas, those guys might be real handy. But right now we're working on a really small canvas, so we can't have too much going on or we'll get some visual clutter. And oh my gosh, we have enough clutter. I do. Gosh. Then we've got our little darling bees. And we can play around with their placement. They do feel like one unit right there. That's actually kind of cute, but it's kind of stiff. But we do have them all close together. How about if we have them in the corners with a title in the middle or a word in the middle? Or add another one. You could have them flying out or flying in. Not one of my favorite designs. Not bad, but not one of my favorites. We could bring them over here to the side. Now they feel like they're together better, don't they? They feel like they're more one unit. Even though you feel like they're going somewhere. They're either going out to find the pollen or coming home to take care of the queen. So you could do that. Right across was a little stiff. This feels pretty good. You could have it at the top. You can have them chasing each other. If you had a circle thing, you could have it go around and around. And then you could put the sentiment right there. I know some people like the top, I call it the grape arbor, the top kind of look. I tend to be more of a bottom person because it is a natural way to show weight. We won't talk about bottoms and weight, but you know and I know. There we go. So you could put them right here, and that would be the start of the design. Do we need another one? Does that help anything? Want to keep with the threesies, or is it just visual clutter? Do these guys feel like they're off on their own because they're not as near to these guys as they could be? These are questions that you get to answer to yourself too. I mean, I have my subjective feeling, preferences, and you will too. My subjective preference is for those guys to fly away and bring these guys in. Now, here's something else that comes up with there's a lot of, then you add that sentiment, because we rarely start with the sentiment, right? We usually start with something pretty, and then we bring in some kind of word. Sometimes I see all of a sudden it's up here. I'm going, well, there's no proximity. This does not feel like a unit. This feels like it's by itself. It could be down here and I would feel the same way. It does not feel a part of this unit, this focal point unit. It feels by itself. So I would tend to want it right there in the circle. And now I feel like the focal point is a unit. Some other things again that you could do, you could add some little bling. Let me just cut a couple of these. I'm not going to take them off, but because I don't want to stick them on. But let me cut them off. We'll pretend we're putting these down. Not very cooperative. Because bling, we're going to talk more about bling too, but you can still do the rule of 3. And we can bring them close to the unit so that it feels included as part of the design. If you have these guys all of a sudden just out in the corners, they might be borders. They might give you a feel of framing, but they wouldn't be a part of this. They'd be separate. They'd be the kids that don't have anybody to play with at recess. Alrighty. Okay. All right. So that is how I would handle that. That was number 2. Proximity can help decrease visual clutter. I'm just going to use these parts over and over again. So, okay, number 3, proximity can help you keep balance and illustrate what's important. This is another 4 1/4 card by 4 1/4 card. You can either have your, you can have it on the left side. You can have the fold on the left side. You can have it on the top side. You can have it on the bottom side and make it a little bit funky and fun and make it open up this way. You could even put it on the right side and give somebody a good idea that you made a mistake. So anyway, that all works out just fine. So we go ahead and go here. I'm going to go ahead and pull in this stenciled honeycomb. All I used was this little cheap honeycomb stencil. I bought, I don't know how many I got on Amazon for under $10, but a bunch of them, and they've so far had held up just fine. Number 3. Okay, we're going to help us keep balance and illustrate what's important. Think of a mantle in your house. If you have a mantle above your fireplace or somewhere where you display your holiday knickknacks, think about that as a very important place and that you put your very important things on there. You often will find that people will group like items, like they'll group Santa Clauses, candlestick holders. They may, my mom had skunks. So she might have grouped some skunks. How about some heirloom clocks? Somebody might put heirloom clocks all together. Some glassware, maybe glassware that looks nice together, things that look good together. So think of that, because proximity, when you put things near each other, they tend to be treated as a unit. So it can help, but what are we going to do with that unit? So let's see about this. Let's use 3 of our bees. And we'll just play with them again. We can put them straight across. They feel like a unit. Do they feel, and they feel pretty balanced. How about if we did, but to me, they're a little stiff. How about if we did a diagonal? Does that make them feel playful? We talked about that last month. Oh, jazz concert again. Good for you. All right, Jamie. I see you sneak out that back seat back there. You be careful. That's a nice diagonal line. It feels like they're cohesive, right? They're we could bring them a little nearer and they'd probably feel even more like a unit. How about if we just make them straight up and down? They're going to feel a little more formal. Whoopsie. Definitely feel like they're a unit, like they're all marching to the hive. I think it looks like they're all going to the hive at least. So when you have a unit that is near each other but not touching, watch this when you put them a little bit wonky. Now they feel like they're all going to the hive, but they're kind of doing their own thing. I think they're kind of cute. How about if we do it over here where there's white space? Why would I choose to do it on the honeycomb and not the white space? If you had an important sentiment, you could do this pretty easily. But white space is a very important design element. It lets your eye rest. It's not that you need to cut the card off right here. It's nothing like that at all. It still is good. Have your little bees over near their hive because that also connects them to the unit of the hive or the hexagons because they feel part of that background now. If they're over here, they're part of the white space. Over here, they're part of the background. Now, what are we going to do with this? We're going to stick it up here at an angle to make it playful. We're going to put it right on top of that bee. Oh gosh, no. We're going to put it down here so we have bottom weight. Are we going to nestle it in with the bees so that it feels like part of the unit? That would be my vote. I'm pretty, the first week out, I'm always pretty teachy. Now we can bring in our three little elements here. How are we going to deal with them? Are we going to bring them out here? Whoopsie. Do we want them in a little line out here? That's a look. What does your eye think about that? Does it feel like it's part of the group? Does it feel like, or does it feel like you could use a little more proximity and make it part of the unit? It's just a little tricky thing, isn't it? How about if we do one here? We can do one near the sentiment so you can have the sentiment being draw your eye to. And just one over here to kind of pull it all in. I think that's a pretty good card. I like it. I do. I like it. I might have to make some more bees and glue these all down. That would probably be one of my favorite designs that we came up with. Doesn't mean that you don't need this white space if it's open. It's still part of the design. Would I stamp it right on top? Would I stamp this right on top of the card? Probably not. I kind of like having it set up by itself. You could also pick a bee and pop it up too. The one that's going to be maybe this guy. Make it for a little more interest. You could add some sparkle. You could make their wings a little sparkly to make it a better card, more interesting. A triangle close to the bees might be better for the red dots. Triangle close to the bees. I mean, like over here? Is that it? I'll wait for the delay to go by. Oh, darn delay. I have my thoughts on this one. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. I don't know if that's what you meant though, Patty. I think the reason I had one of them down here is to connect with right here with this sentiment. Otherwise, the sentiment is just kind of part of the unit, but it's kind of on its own. That was my thinking, but that's not bad. You could maybe even add in a couple more. You could have a 5 spot for it. It's kind of a small card for 5, but they're small embellishments that I'm playing with. If you had really big embellishments, I would feel a little more nervous. Could even put one right on the, like that. If you want the red, maybe not red, maybe black, but I kind of like the red. I think that's a little too much personally, but anyway. Yeah, good for you, Patty. Thanks for thinking about it and letting me try a few things out. Taking the one red dot up draws your eye up. It does. So maybe we'll take this guy. Still want, but we get a line, not a triangle. Makes me want that to go up. Boy, you guys got me going all over here. Okay. Now we got the little triangle. This is a good trick though. If you have, if you do want to play with some dots and things, you can make little dots or just use them, just cut them off on the little, this little release sheet, and then just move them around and play with them. Oh, I'd already moved on. I'm sorry. There's quite a bit of delay. I'm sorry, Patty. Anyway, that is card number 3. It helps you keep your balance. If I have these guys, see how they're kind of staggery? Staggery. This is going to pull out to the side. So, and I like this. Actually, I do like that over there. We got a little balance, and we know what's important. We know that these guys, and this is the important part. Everybody else is supporting them. We'll put those over there. Off with that card. Card, or rule, tip, whatever it is. Number 4. Proximity can improve relationship and connection. It can improve relationship and connection. Real life example, lockdown. When we were locked down and we couldn't see our friends and our relatives, it was tough to build those connections, wasn't it? So same with proximity and cards. Here we've got another 4 1/4 card, top folding. I've made a little vellum jar, and I've only put glue on one side so I can play with it. You like the card with the bee and honeycomb? I liked it too. I love that honeycomb background. I just love that soft stenciled look. I do. I think it's a good thing. So, okay, so proximity and relationship. Let's play with that. What happens when we have, what's the story? And we have our bees on the outside of the jar. What's the unit here? Attacking bees. Bees on the outside. It kind of makes you think, whoa, why are these guys all out? What's going on? Did you just let them loose? Or what's our story here? What's the card maker going to tell somebody? You're loose. Pick it up. Get out of your jar. Think of the things that the visual story tells the receiver. I don't know exactly, but this one makes me feel a little bit like, oh, get out of your rut, get out of the jar, break it loose, go out there and make some honey, make something happen. How about when we put, I don't think I have more room for more than two. What about if we have two in the jar? You stole the bees' honey. Yeah, they're kind of like mad, aren't they, Kathy? How about if they're in the jar? You didn't steal their honey now. You've got them in a cage. Sorry you've been locked in. This could have been with a lockdown card. Sorry that feeling a little confined. You know, I don't know what it would be, but you definitely feel like the unit is right there. The proximity is telling us about the relationship because it's very near. These guys are a unit and they are in it together. We're in this together. That would be a really cute little sentiment. I don't know. Or you could even put some honey-like stuff in and something about being in a sticky situation with you. That would be cute. Boy, somebody should make these cards. Make these sentiments. It would be a great stamp set. Bees in the jar. Poor bees. I know. Doesn't it kind of feel sad? I think it does. But you do feel like they're together. Watch what happens when there's only one. Now that looks kind of sad. Caught a bug? Ugh. That's right. I used to have a stamp set that said that. Caught a bug? Ugh. You'd put the ugh on the inside. But that would be good for this one. A little guy all by himself. It's pretty lonely. How about if we have one on the outside and one on the inside? I'm trying to get to you. I'm trying. We'll get together soon. I'm not really sure what I would say. But this happened. I wanted to point this out like this because when you have a barrier between part of your unit, it makes it separate. It separates the unit so that this feels separated in a way, doesn't it? If you had a card where you had a line, the unit would feel separated. Let's go back to this guy. If you had just a line there, what do we have for a line? Maybe just, let me cut just a teeny tiny strip. It's very effective. A little teeny tiny strip of black. Really thin. It doesn't have to be thick at all to make it feel like there's a wall between them. And there we go. Definitely feels like they're separated. And they do not feel like a strong relationship, no matter how close they are. They have a barrier between them. Isn't that fascinating? I think it's really fun to think of all these visual things that mess with your brain. If you separate them even more, a little distance, they're not near each other. Their proximity isn't as close. They have a barrier. They definitely feel alone to me, even though they're the same stamp, colored the same way. I feel like they're having some issues, having some separation. But I don't know, whichever you would want to say on this or not. But we'll stick with just thinking of you tonight on this. So if we buzz him up to the top, this guy is out on the ledge, and we can put him with the sentiment. Trying to keep that sentiment so it's one piece looking, so the proximity is good and there's no gap. Could have given myself a little more space. There we go. Now we're thinking, now we've got a feeling of, actually this guy, you know, it might be really cool is to turn him like this, like he's coming down to see ya. Not buzzer first. You're going up to see him. And you're thinking of him. We just use some background and texture or some pattern paper in the background. I like this vellum jar. I know I just got him situated and I threw him off. I have no respect. Now we've got that. Let's bring in the red dots. Oops. Got one there. There, we're not probably going to put our red dots out at the sides, are we? Because we want to have that unit feel. That does not feel like they're really part of the unit to me, does it? It may to you, but it doesn't to me. I want them a little closer proximity. You don't have to be on top of everybody. I want them a little closer. And in the triangle. Moving it. I like it spread out a little bit. I think if it gets, I think we're going to get a little clutter if we bring them in too much. See, they get lost. They're kind of lost in the clutter, aren't they? If you have them out just a little bit, I think you got a pretty good unit there. And we're just working with a small canvas, remember? So with that small canvas, we want to keep everything pretty close together and not too many elements. It's a little too hectic. Now, if you had lots and lots of little tiny elements, you can make a scene and it would be fascinating. But for our purposes right now, we're just going to go with fewer elements and more statement, I think. Here's another little thing that sometimes I see, and this is a preference too. If I bring in a little bow, because some people love to add ribbon or a bow. I used art glitter glue, Christina, and just put it right underneath the lines so you couldn't see it. And it's a little teeny tiny bead of glue. Okay, so if you bring in that bow, I'm not saying I don't use a lot of bows, but if you did use a lot of bows, where would you put it? Put it up here by itself? Does that feel part of the unit? Would you put it down here by itself? Would that feel part of the unit? Would you put it on the bee? Actually, it's kind of funny, but it doesn't look great. Oh, you're welcome. No, I think it's just a teeny tiny, with this little nozzle, you can put such a tiny little bead on. It's very good. Would you put it so it's like a cluster? You could. That one's not too bad. If I feel like it's a little cluttered, but and maybe bring in some red ones really close so that it feels like it's supposed to be a cluttered little pile. With cat fur. Now, even though it's kind of cluttery, it feels like it's supposed to be cluttery more than it did when the beads were on their own. Because now you've got a little group, a little unit group. That would actually maybe work. The lid is part of the stamp. On the you're saying on, yes, Roberta. Oh, I thought that was, I didn't read who read that. I thought that too, guys. I thought maybe right here on the lid too. It pulls it in though. Instead of just like that, if you had a tag, it would work because you'd have that design element. But up by itself, it doesn't feel like it's quite as cohesive a picture as if it's right there. You think? I think so too. That's how I see it. So the proximity of pulling it down onto the lid so that you have that unit feel makes for a strong card design. And proximity guideline, we'll call them guidelines, tips, I don't know. Number 5. Another 4¼ inch card that needs to learn some manners. Okay. Proximity can build a sense of structure. Think of the third little pig with his little brick house. If he knows the wolf is coming, if he doesn't build his little brick house with the bricks with close proximity, that old wolf's going to get in there somehow. So if you're closer together, you'll have a stronger structure. So we'll start, and it does help to have some kind of frame. It's kind of like a cluster. It does help to have some kind of frame. We had the black and white frame here. We had the honeycomb for the second card, and we had the jar and the pattern paper for the third. So this one, I have an inked background. I'm going to add just a little bit of a ring on here. And then I have, instead of bees, I wanted to show you this works for other things too. I have a mess. So we could start just putting things on, kind of spread out. Would that be a good card, even though the pieces are pretty? I don't love it. I don't love it at all. How about if we build a flower? So this was just an old scallop punch that I had, and this is an old stamp that I had. Oh, I should have. Let me see if I can change that. I can. Okay. And then I'm just going to build up a flower. Could, like we did the bee down here at the bottom, we could put it right here. Pretty strong. Let's make another one though. This may be a little clunky because of all the business that's going on here. I like the different colors of pink. I think that kind of turned out pretty. And this is one of my favorite green shadings, where you put a real bright green and then add some of the darker bright green. Now, knowing what you know about proximity, do we want to space these out? What does that give us sense of strength? Is this going to keep the wolf out? Are you loving it? You got the rule of 3. We want to add another cute thing? I don't think so. I don't think so. Let's see if we can make this work a little better. It's very, very strong, but not very pretty. So I think I'm going to, pardon me, oops, put this down just a little bit on the top. so I have it stuck somewhere so it doesn't keep moving around. Other thing on this, Christina, is to keep I find that it dries in the nozzle pretty fast, so I like to keep it closed as much as possible. There we go. So if we do the same, if we do a grape arbor, we could put some up here so the grapes are all hanging down. These are pretty big elements for a small card, I got to admit. I'm pushing my luck on this. I don't care for it. Off with their heads. Could we use all of these though? And if we have it down here? Can we have one under? Under, over? Nah. We structure them really close together. So we have a strong design. I think it might just be too much. That's not as bad. It's not as bad. It's not very good though. I don't love it. Then where are we going to put this guy? Up here in the corner? Or can we put him in an angle? Should we put him on the flowers? Should we put him vertically for interest? Should we put him vertically right in the middle for interest? Yeah, I'm thinking playing with it there, Patty. Or should we put it right here and nestle it into this so that it had, I think I would make it a little better, but we nestle it right into the center here so that you've got a unit. Does that make a strong card? It's a little too strong, I think, for this size. I think this would be great on a little chubby. So we'll keep that one in mind, maybe. I probably will forget. But, okay, what am I hearing from Patty Beck? She's saying 1 flower, 1 bee, 2 leaves. Okay, 1 flower, 1 bee, 1 bee, 2 leaves. Is the bee going to the flower? You have a unit? You have a strong unit? Yeah. 4 elements. Do we need an odd one? Sentiment in the center horizontal. Yeah. It's got to be near the action, doesn't it? I think so too. How about 1 flower, 3 leaves? No bee. That make a pretty good nestled down. I'm trying to get that rough edge off. I don't want there to be a gap. I could always stamp it again. There we go. I don't think we want to use our red dots here, but you could use some other little dots, I suppose. Some little clear sequins would be pretty. There's a little stray pink one. Maybe you could add a couple little pink. That's the wrong pink, but maybe you could add a couple little pink ones right here. Both leaves together on right. You like them up at the top. And 1 down here. Like that, Roberta? That makes me have to move him down. Yep, Patty, I think you're right. Given the size of the card and the size of the elements, fewer might be better. It's a good point, though. It's a real good point. You like that one? It isn't bad. I'm a bottom heavy person. I would move one of those down because I want it to have a more of a horizontal steady base. Which we talked about last month, about horizontal lines and having a steady base. So that's how I would, that's the only thing I would do, I think. But I like it. It's a great little background. Don't you think that's a nice little background? Okay. You don't, I'm not sure what the no was for because I've already said so many things because of that silly delay. See. I think some little something right here would be good. Even a little pattern would be good just to fill it in. I like a tone on tone or some real gentle, oh boy, I don't even know. Maybe a stencil of some of design. That's making me very interested. Let me go ahead. See what happens if I poke this up just a little bit. There we go. Nope, that's not gonna work. There we go. And then I pull in a little stencil right here. We can even use this because it's right here. And I know I use this ink, which is helpful. I think if we have this down, it's going to give it a better horizontal base. It's all about the base, no trouble. Very subtle. It's kind of mixed media-ish to add something like this, isn't it? Bringing out a little horizontal line. Oh, I'm stuck on the old proximity. Bring it up just a little bit. Dang, we're going to have something good, I think. Good at Sunday dinner. Okay, now let's see what happens. Proximity's falling to pieces. You still think I need a bee? Now, if you didn't know about those bees, you wouldn't know. You don't like it. Maybe you don't like pink flowers. Now, the bees would be cute on here, though, all by themselves. I think I need some more. I'd make it longer so it would stick under there. Wouldn't see the corner. That needs a little more filling in, I think. But I like the idea. I like the idea a lot, but I think it needs a little more filling in. Well, it's maybe not my favorite card, but I still think it's okay. Like the honeycomb kind of feels like it adds a lot, don't you think, Christina? I think so. I think it really adds some interest down here at the bottom, which it needed. I think I can stick one right there. I don't want to get anything messed up. I think that's pretty decent. It's bright, it's springy, except now it's summer. I just thought we'd try something besides bugs. So you can see, same kind of thing. It's stuck, it's stuck. There. That nice and centered, a little eyeball that so that it's a little bit distant. Yeah, I got it. I think that's okay. Want to show you a couple other things? For the 5 helps of proximity. This is something I found in my archives. This was something that we used to make a long time ago. I bet it was early 2000s, early century. Um, it was for like a lid. So if you were outside, pardon me, if you were outside, you could keep the bugs out. So I thought that was kind of fun. And there's a little bug. All it is a round piece of paper with a hole cut in the middle for a straw. Some layers for flowers. I am going to cough just a second. There we go. And a little design on it. I thought that was kind of fun. Most of us have lids on our glasses now, but anyway, that one's kind of a fun little design. Here is a little card with just some random stamped butterflies in the background. You can see how they kind of all go together. When you do a background like this, a hunk, the unit becomes this pattern, which you don't really need too much to add to it. And that's why I love doing these kind of cards. But or a pattern paper. If you look at pattern paper and put it on the background like that, that becomes part of the unit. And then the focal point doesn't have to be as pronounced. So you can have it foreground or background. Make it work. There you go. And then this was a cute little bug, and since we were doing little ones, I pulled this one out. This one is ancient too. It's just a little square. Let's see, how big is this? Just a little square. It's 4 inches by 4 inches. Folded in half. Opened up. Fold it in half again. So you have 4 2-inch squares. And then fold it diagonally, except this one's not supposed to go diagonally that way, like that. Open it up again. And then on this one outside corner, fold that diagonally so that it all kind of closes up on itself. And that could go on top of a card. Real cute. Let's see if I can fold that for you. You know, I like to keep a box. Let me find a piece of paper. Like I don't have any paper. I like to keep a box that's for interactive or fun folds. And then oftentimes I will just fold it in copy paper and then write how I did it on the copy paper, which I think I'll do tonight because actually here's a nice square. I don't have to cut anything. This was from one of my stamp sets. So you fold it one way. You open it up. You fold it the opposite way. So now you have 4 squares. You take it and go diagonally. Especially make sure that this is right there in the corner and you've got them on both sides equally so that the corner comes right to that center. Don't want anybody flopped over on one side. And then, let me make sure I'm doing the right corner. So we've got our little diagonal right here. So now we're going to bring one of these to the center. Except he's going to be a mountain fold. The diagonal line is going to pop up also. Let's see if this can fold. Yep, there we go. And once it gets used to itself, it will fold on itself a little better. So you can put something right there. So when you open it up, you've got a fun little place for it. If you used real paper, it would be just right. He looks pretty good on those stripes though, doesn't he? And then that was just, wonder who's, man, Janine Glover. I was in a swap apparently. So that's kind of a fun little thing. You could put a little, cute little paper clip on there so that it held it closed. That would be nice. Or even a belly band, and then have this guy on there, and so that it holds it shut. And then stick it on top of, you could stick it on an A2 card, you could stick it on a square card, you could make 3 of them and put them on a slimline. Yeah, or you could make it just talk like a monster like Grover. Hello. So those are my ideas for the night. Oh my goodness, that was pretty loaded with thoughts. Hope that was okay. When we do make cards, we're making a visual communication, and it's up to us to be able to communicate what you want your card, what your visual communication is going to say. It's not really up for your viewer to have to decide. So that's why design is important, because you can help them know what to look at. You can help them know what's important. You can help them know, feel a strength about your design. You can help them have it make sense. Have your design make sense. Especially if you're adding a sentiment. If your picture doesn't go, or your design doesn't go with your sentiment, the person might just kind of get confused. So there are reasons that are good to stop and think about design, and it's usually for your viewer, and that's an okay thing. That's all right. It's a nice thing to be able to do. This one, would this look pretty on the? It would look pretty on there too, except I think I'd want some little differentiation there. It's kind of blah going right into that white. Not that I'm picky. And then I guess I need one more. I could put a leaf on here. One more little guy. There's so much stuff you can do, and it's fun just to pull out some pieces and play along and think about the different things that you get to communicate out of bees. So no bee for that guy. No third bee. No extra leaves. I do like those leaves on there. And I'm out of sentiments. We've got one there and there. So anyway, and then what else did we talk about? That it can help decrease clutter when you think of a unit and keep things together, and that it can help you with balance and knowing what's important. I think that's pretty much for the night. Let's thank our patrons. We thank them so much. We have some big funders, we do have a little announcement tomorrow. And during the show, Rachel Castle, Janet Flanagan, oh, yes, Kim W., Vicki Emerson, Vicki Ruda, Jackie Rip, Leslie Herman, Gay Robeson, and Sue Mason. Thank you so much for being big funders. We do thank our fun supporters. You guys are so generous and kind. Fun friends, we just really, it just blows my mind that you guys would sign up for stuff. But I do appreciate it. I do. Can I talk about proximity and the Lawn Fawn multi-critter style cards? They are so full. They're very busy. And I alluded to that very thing, Roberta. When you, but it's kind of their look. It's a cluttered look, and I know when Ashley was on, I don't think she's in class tonight, but when Ashley was on and we were talking about how many critters she puts on, and it's because they're so darn cute. You hate to leave any of them out, but the card that she made during Craft Roulette, she was pleased with. It had a few less. I don't have much experience with Lawn Fawn. I've never used them, but they have a cute look. But I think that's part of their look, is a cluttered look. I think that's is the scene. And I was talking about that earlier, that sometimes you do a scene and that and since they're little and they usually put them on a bigger card. These are little, the little 4 and a quarter small canvases to work on. So, what else is going on? Homework. The Sherry put up the new homework for July, in the media under albums. So if you do feel inspired to work on something like a 4 and a quarter card and show us what you got, what you learned, if you liked it, put it there. That's in Fun University Lounge. I don't know. I think that's about it. Just visit Mary Gun Fun for all the updates and all that good stuff. We will see you tomorrow at Craft Roulette. I do hope. Hope Patty doesn't get sick. Hope none of you get sick. And hope I don't get sick. We are supposed to get a dishwasher tomorrow. I hope it comes before the Craft Roulette. So, all right, time to do it. You guys deserve it. You had to sit through a lot of blah blah theory. But it's kind of cool, isn't it? I kind of like it. One for you for sticking with us. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. You guys stay cool and dry for some of you. And we will see you soon. Bye-bye.